Hello, this is Brian. Today is a gloriously sunny November 15th, 2020. It's a late Sunday morning, and I'm over at Jackson Lake. Been over here a good few times before, and always a very pleasant experience. So this is the actual lake itself. You're looking at it thinking it's kind of small for a lake. Well, it's actually what geologists call, pardon me there, it's actually what geologists call a sag pond. It's formed from the tectonic action of the San Andreas Fault, which we're basically on top of right now. So all the movement in the earth gets the spring water to come up, and it percolates into this depression, or this sag of the land. That's why we call it a sag pond. And my feet are getting very muddy. It had snowed here a week ago, so it made all the soil pretty muddy. This is it right here. I've never been this close to the water though. I've always come by the parking lot and scope out the trees, but I actually wanted to get close to the actual sag pond. So this is basically formed by the San Andreas Fault. I'm actually going to slide out just a little bit more before my shoes sink in there. Like a lot of the sag ponds in this area, there are numerous sag ponds. It's kind of narrow, elongated. As you can see here, it goes quite a distance longitudinally. So it's long one way and short the other. It's very common here. The next one is I believe just a couple miles down. It's called Caldwell Lake. It's the same type of water feature. It's a sag pond, just like this. Tectonic activity, and it's also right on the San Andreas Fault. So where we are, we're at an elevation of 6,130 feet above sea level. So we do get some pretty good seasonal change around here. Albeit very late this year because of the very warm autumn that we have had. It has been incredibly warm pretty much the whole fall, except you saw my last video on October 25th. It was all misty and drizzly and cool on Palomar Mountain, and then the next week was 90 something degrees where I live in Orange County. Then the next week, which was last week, it was cool and breezy. And now we're supposed to get up here. I suspect it'll probably be in the mid 60s, like 63, 64. Down where I live, mid 80s again. So that's why a lot of these trees still have leaves on them. And what do we have here? Looks like, I'm kind of iffy with my willows, I gotta admit, but this looks like Salix. Let's see, Salix laevigata, red willow. That's what this one appears to be. Got that fissured bark, is very characteristic. Then a lot of other interesting trees around here. We also have another native, which is our Quercus kelloggii. This is the black oak, and usually by now these trees would be mostly barren, but like I said, got a very late start this year, so a lot of these trees are still holding on to their leaves. There's a pretty good acorn crop this year. Very good acorn crop. In fact, when I went to Palomar, that October 25th video set, there were acorns all over the ground. And then here's a native tree. We usually don't see too much this high up, above 6,000 feet, but this is the Arizona ash, or velvet ash if you prefer, Fraxinus velutina. There are actually some pretty decent sized specimens planted over by the lake. In fact, I'm going to head over there to show you. But this is a female tree, because these trees are divided by gender. Male flowers on some trees and female flowers on some trees. So this is the one that gets the seeds. So there you have it. It's a female tree. So there are male trees around here, otherwise there probably wouldn't be seeds. Here's a nice hefty black oak. I still say the largest black oaks I've ever seen have been on Palomar Mountain. I've been to Sequoia National Park, I've been to the Sequoia National Forest, I've been to the San Bernardinos, the San Gabriels, where I'm in the San Gabriels right now, and never seen black oaks as big as the ones in Palomar. But then again, there's still a lot of places I haven't been, so maybe one of these days I'll find something larger. Here we are. Of course, Calocedrus decurrens, our beautiful incense-cedar, commonly native in these mountains. Then again, we got some more fall coloring on the black oaks. And then we got the Coulter Pine, Pinus coulteri. Oh, very good acorn here. Very good acorn here. And we got some nice, love these old willow trees here. So beautiful. And of course, very commonly planted here in the San Gabriels, Sequoia dendron giganteum, the giant sequoia. Very commonly planted around these recreational sites, in residential areas, and sometimes just in random spots here in the Angeles National Forest. And there's your cone right there. Now, back in late August, I did a video set near Buckhorn Campground, and the video spotlighted, well, it wasn't a spotlight on trees video, but it spotlighted an area where there was an apparently naturalizing giant sequoia grove. Well, fortunately that area was in the path of the bobcat fire, so I really don't know if any of the trees survived. However, I've been doing some thinking about it, and yes, it's a very tragic loss, especially, I mean, obviously you can't go back to that area unless you're a Forest Service personnel, so I really can't tell you what the area looks like. I'm pretty sure it's charbroiled, hate to say it. I'm sorry for the sense of the sense of language on that, but pretty sure most of those big old growth incense cedars probably were incinerated. However, probably will be some survivors. The only thing is, though, the incense cedars down there did not have seeds this year. They didn't, for some reason, didn't develop seed cones that I could tell. So remains to be seen if any incense cedars will recolonize. But back to the giant sequoia. The giant sequoias that were planted near Buckhorn Spring, or like I said, you saw that video. It's for my August 24th video set. You saw me pointing out the giant sequoia trees that were starting to grow quite tall, taller than these guys here, actually significantly taller. And as you could tell in the video, there were cones. There were cones all over the place. So with that in mind, what I'm thinking is going to happen is, provided we get enough rainfall, the giant sequoias might start colonizing that area, because fire is one of the ways that giant sequoia recolonizes disturbed sites. And a lot of times sequoia regeneration depends on fire. So I'm hoping that there are going to be giant sequoia seedlings popping up, and I will not be surprised if there are. Now, whether the climate will allow them to reach maturity themselves, that remains to be seen, obviously, because we're in a warming and drying stage right now. But we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. Yes, truly, sequoias are not native to this far south in Southern California. The closest you're going to find them is Southern Tulare County, natively. But the Forest Service has planted these sequoias not only for, you know, decorating picnic sites, but they are also supposed to be pretty resistant to pollution. Our Jeffrey pines and ponderosas, white firs, are fairly sensitive to the pollution that comes up from the Los Angeles basin. But from what I've read, giant sequoias are supposed to be very resistant to that. So the Forest Service has used these in attempts to conduct reforestation projects here in Southern California's mountains. You go to the San Bernardinos, they're planted all over the place. You go to the San Jacintos, they're planted all over the place. I've seen them plant. I think I've seen them planted on Palomar Mountain too, if I remember correctly. So that's one tree we might be able to count on for reforesting. Another tree would be Coulter Pine. Coulter Pines are quite resistant to drought, and they're used to low elevations. And as the higher elevations warm up, the the weather that's associated mostly with lower elevations is going to be traveling uphill. So Coulter Pines might be pretty good for reforestation purposes higher up, as normally you find them below 7,200 feet. Normally. Alright, so there it is, beautiful Jackson Lake. And then, so since I'm here talking about trees, we got silver maple right here, Acer saccharinum. They plant these around here too. These ones didn't really change color much. They're usually not known as a humongous fall color tree, not like its relative, its close relative, the red maple, Acer rubrum, but usually kind of like a palish yellow, kind of like this. And anyways, this tree is almost in its leafless state right now. Most of the leaves are already fallen off of it. But that's one thing. Oh, there's some nice mature silver maples, and these willows are just nice and old and rugged looking. Like I said, this looks like it's Salix laevigata, the red willow. And then another silver maple. And these are next year's flower buds right here. These little red nodules right here, you can see where my thumb is. Those are next year's flower buds. Usually silver maples open up in late winter. Red maples are pretty similar because they're very closely related. And then back by the parking area, we also got the larger velvet ashes I was talking about. These larger ones. This is probably as close to as large as I've ever seen Arizona or velvet ash. Like I said, velvet ash and Arizona ash are used interchangeably because velutina refers to the velvety pubescence on the leaves. But we're in November now, the trees are pretty much leafless. But I've been here in late October before, and these ash trees here were just completely lit up with a brilliant, brilliant yellow. Actually some of the most attractive fall color in the area. Just an extremely brilliant yellow. Beautiful trees. And they are native here to Southern California. You're most likely going to find them in lower elevation riparian areas. If you've seen my video on Los Alamos Canyon from back in July, you'll see that there are a lot of smaller ash trees in the riverbed, but they're nothing near the size of these Arizona ashes right here. Well, that about does it for me on this clip. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another video coming soon.